In a world where political rhetoric often overshadows the realities faced by everyday citizens, the clash between representative authority and the voices of dissent becomes increasingly palpable. Al Green, a Democratic congressman, found himself at the center of this conflict when he interrupted President Trump's speech in the House of Representatives. His outburst, a spontaneous reaction to what he perceived as a profound misrepresentation of the will of the American people, reflects a deeper struggle that resonates far beyond the walls of Congress. Green's assertion that Trump lacks the mandate to claim he speaks for all Americans is not merely a political statement. It encapsulates a growing sentiment among those who feel marginalized in the current political landscape. The congressman's words echo the frustrations of countless citizens who believe their needs and voices are overshadowed by the powerful elite. When Green shouted in protest, it was not just a moment of defiance. It was an embodiment of the collective anguish felt by many, who find themselves grappling with the consequences of policies that seem to disregard their very existence. The notion of authorization in politics is complex. It raises questions about who truly holds the power to speak for the populace. In a democratic society, one might assume that elected officials derive their authority from the consent of the governed. Yet, as Green pointed out, this authority can easily be distorted. Trump's claims of a universal mandate stand in stark contrast to the reality that many Americans feel alienated by his administration's policies, particularly those affecting healthcare and social welfare. The cuts to healthcare programs that serve the most vulnerable populations, those who rely on government assistance for their medical needs, serve as a glaring example of this disconnect. Green's emotional reaction was not merely a moment of chaos, it was a call to action. It highlighted the urgent need for representatives to hold the powerful accountable and to ensure that the voices of their constituents are heard. In an era where political discourse often devolves into sound bites and slogans, Green's outcry serves as a reminder of the human element often lost in the shuffle. The struggle for healthcare access is not just a policy debate. It is a matter of life and death for many individuals and families. By interrupting Trump, Green was not only asserting his right to dissent, but also amplifying the cries of those who feel neglected. The ramifications of such interruptions extend beyond the immediate context of a speech. They spark conversations about the role of dissent in democracy. Is it acceptable for lawmakers to disrupt proceedings when they believe that fundamental truths are being misrepresented? When does the line between decorum and moral obligation blur? Green's actions suggest that, for him, the moral imperative to stand up for his constituents outweighs the need for procedural order. This raises essential questions about the responsibilities of public officials in representing their constituents' interests, especially when those interests are under threat. As the political landscape continues to evolve, the importance of authentic representation becomes ever more critical. Green's protest reminds us that democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires active participation and, at times, passionate dissent. The voices of those who feel unheard must be amplified, and representatives like Al Green play a crucial role in ensuring that the narrative of the American experience is inclusive and reflective of all citizens, particularly the most vulnerable. In a time when division seems rampant, it is the courage to speak out, whether in agreement or dissent, that ultimately shapes the future of democracy and the welfare of its people.